it starts always from being curious, I think, because sometimes when you think about this program, you get the fake impression that now everything is handed to you on a silver platter just because you got it. That's not true at all. One of the most important things is really do not be afraid to change. I know it's tough because I've been there, and every day we're there. I mean, you never stay static, right? After some time, you mature, you have different needs, a different vision of your life even, and then you want to do something different.
So
And
I just realized one important thing on all this thing, especially the age group who are from 21 to 26, 28 or 30 also, when they are looking at this podcast now,
yeah,
I mean, going to this part of the podcast, they will realize, I think I can do it also.
absolutely.
For the thing that I've been always procrastinating, no, I shouldn't. Maybe I cannot do it. Do you feel these three things in your career? I am procrastinating important decisions. I am struggling to align my desires with my actions. I'm afraid to make changes outside of my comfort zone. If yes, then tune in to the first podcast by Protzoles. Protzoles focuses on people who are product makers irrespective of the industry. In this podcast, we have Giulia, who started her career in the automobile industry at Volvo Cars. She is now a group manager under 30. Her story is inspiring and provides insights into how she discovered her career path at each turn. She dared to accept changes and challenges, stepping into unknown territories with confidence. It also provides insights into her contribution to a new powertrain company, a spin-off created from Volvo Cars. I am Vidyasagar, your host on Protzoles. Giulia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, you are now working at Aurobay, which is in Sweden.
Yes.
And you're from
Italy.
Italy. How come Italy to Sweden? You made that distance, you came here, and then you're here.
Well, first of all, I did not move to Sweden for work specifically. I moved a bit earlier than that. So I've lived and I've studied in Milano, in Italy, all my life up to 20-something years old. But then for my master, I wanted to actually have a change and do it abroad. At the time, I'm actually a chemical engineer. Not too much related to what I do today, but that's what I had as a degree. And when I was choosing my master, I actually wanted to dig into chemical plants and renewable energies, which looking back is very different from where I landed at the end, or at least as of now. And then, of course, north of Europe is quite ahead of this type of technologies. Yeah, I just applied it through the different university in Europe, and then I chose to be here in Gothenburg, in Chalmers, just because I liked the engineering, for chemical engineering, the engineering program of the master. So that's how I landed in Sweden, and then I studied here, and I changed my path during my studies. And after that, I got the thesis, a master thesis in Volvo. And that was a bit the journey to arrive to the work environment in Sweden. So started with my master thesis in Volvo Cars, and then after that I continued there in the global graduate program for newly graduates. And then after that I got approached and I started joining Aurobay, or what was the embryo that became Aurobay. So I helped in shaping the company and building it.
Okay. So, so this quick trailer of the whole.
Yes.
I want to go to the roots. Are you the person who lives in the mountains? Because Milano is very close to the mountains.
No, I am a city girl. I would. Born and raised in concrete, love the city, love the bus. But also like, for example, Gothenburg size. I think it's a very, very nice city to be. It's good size, not too small, not too big. maybe on my limit of size, but still good.
So those streets made you to take up chemical engineering.
Yes.
How come?
I was a very curious kid when I was little, and I've always been very interested in chemistry. Like how to explain things that you see around and phenomena. And for me, it has always been an extreme interest. And I've always had this engineering mindset, if you get what I mean, like problem solving, structuring, deadlines have been always like organized. So I actually had to choose at the time if to follow my passions in terms of chemistry only, so become more of a chemist myself, or to take a bit of a different track with some engineering parts as well. And although I'm a very curious person, I'm not imagining myself. I'm never imagining myself in a lab all my life, and I knew I wanted to do something more regarding processes and travel the world and kind of really put myself out there. Therefore, I chose chemical engineering instead of pure chemistry.
No. That's nice. That's nice. So you finished chemical engineering, and then you came to Sweden at Chalmers University.
Yes.
And you did the masters.
Yes.
And now I want to focus on very important thing, and think many of the people that I know of from this program, the special program, Volvo Cars, global graduate. It just changes that person completely, or for the others, or that person is completely doing different, and it's something nobody can reach at that height. So just talk about that global graduate thing, what it means, how come and how many applications, and the struggle, everything.
Yeah, I mean, when I was close to graduate, I was suggested to apply to this program by my previous mentor for my master thesis. And in general, I applied to different graduate programs in different companies. And I think it's quite of a red thread in different graduate programs, but specifically in the one in Volvo Cars, they really look for leaders of the future. It's kind of a buzzword today, but it's really what they're looking when they recruit. They're not looking about the technical expertise. They're looking about the mindset. So I think in my year, we had some thousands of applications. I don't have all the numbers myself because I was not part of the recruiting. I was being recruited, but it was in different tracks. We had more of a business-oriented track and more engineering-oriented tracks. Me specifically, I applied for computational aided engineering track because at the time I was working with the analysis of fluids and so on. But nonetheless, it's the program. It's a very, very good structured way to get to know the company at its all. So obviously, the recruitment process was quite intense with the interviews, assessment days. So we were 2 full days, a group of people at the end to kind of get this position. And I would say after that, it's a lot of freedom that you can have with your hiring manager to structure your 2 years of this program. And the ambition really is to focus on what you want. Some people focus more on getting that technical background. So maybe doing, you usually do 3 rotations of 6 months. And then the other remaining 6 months is projects with the other graduates. So you can choose either to do rotations, fully of technical parts.
So I'd like to stop here. So it's a 2-year program.
Yes.
And then you have 6 months each, and you can rotate the position where you're working.
Yeah.
And it is not set to technical.
It's not set to technical. Obviously, if you start with CIE, most likely you want to keep it a bit technical, but it's a computational aided engineering when with CIE. But it's not a given. You can choose. In my case, for example, I didn't keep it technical. I wanted to invest more time in having more knowledge across the company. So you have 3 rotations of 6 months. That sums up to our year and a half. And then the remaining 6 months are spread all over the year with the different module weeks with the different type of trainings like leadership training, product training, customer journey training. And then you have also 2 projects that you do together with the graduates.
So when you say training, you just sit down in a class and somebody's teaching you?
Not really. I mean, the trainings depends on the topic. We had both classroom parts, but also projects part and more interactive parts in the training.
It's a more of a hands-on experience program to it.
Sure. Sure.
and how you as a person changed. I mean, every 6 months you were making that decision. Okay, I want to go there and go here.
Yeah.
So if you look at the person who was at the end of the graduation at the start,
Yeah.
what was the variation? What was going on here?
It starts always from being curious, I think, because sometimes when you think about this program, you get the fake impression that now everything is handed to you on a silver platter just because you got it. That's not true at all, because you're given the opportunity, but if you're not curious enough to strive for what you want and to figure out what you want, then you're going to do not a lot with that opportunity. You need to know what you want, or at least you need to be able to invest the time in understanding where you want to go. And I would say that that's the biggest growth that I was given in this program, to really take the time to experiment different areas without having to be bounded from a permanent job. It was 6 months, and then I could decide, well, if I liked it or not. But also really to take the time, okay, what's next? What do I want to do next? And where do I want to go? And therefore, what rotations should I choose? And then how do I convince that people in that team to hire me for 6 months? So it was a whole process of trying to really self-growth and also to try to understand where you want to get there, who you want to be in the future, which is not a title. It's just like, where do you see yourself working with? More than that. So for me, I really tried to vary a lot. I went into two more technical tracks. One within the engine, when I had my first contact with Aurobay, and one with the safety center for crash simulations. But then I decided to do something completely different, and I went to Madrid to do finance. And so completely out of the box, not my background, but I learned different things with respect to the technical background.
So if I understand correctly, now it also instilled the persuasive skills in you.
Yeah.
When you were making the transition, you have to also convince the managers of that section or group or department.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to be at your place. Would you please take me in?
Yeah.
Basically, you're just trying to arrange your own interview internally in the Volvo Cars.
Yes. And that's all about that. It's the network. Like, the most important part on the Global Graduate Program for me was to build the network. Then is, again, nothing given to you. You start with a hiring manager and a group of other graduates. But like, to be able to be curious and do not be afraid to go even to someone to think, okay, this is the manager of a manager. Oh God, I'm not gonna be able to speak to him or her. Like, to just go there and present yourself, put you out there. For me, it was really about the network, because the network opens doors and also opens possibilities, meaning that at least you have a channel in which you can try to, present yourself and grow.
So I will again go back. So if you were in Charles doing masters, you were applying for the global graduate. So you were thinking, oh, this is the big mountain I need to climb.
Yeah.
And get through.
For sure.
And then just you got up there, you realize this is just a small mountain and it's a bigger one.
Absolutely. And there's going to be bigger ones even now, I think.
And then you said that you started with the computational engineering thing.
Yeah.
And then you just went around the mountain and said, I would do the other thing that is an engine, you said.
Yeah.
And what was this thing? After 2 years, the last assignment, I guess?
Yeah, it was very different. Starting a bit back, taking a step backward, I had done already a big change when I came here for chemical engineering. And then first year of the chemical engineering master degree, I went to a chemical plant and I realized, oh, this is not what I want to do. And then I needed to rebuild a bit of my vision of what I wanted to do with these 2 years. And then I discovered computational aided engineering. And one lesson that I learned from that is you should not be fixed on one idea. You should actually let the option open, because you never know what's out there. You don't even know if there is something better suited for you. So that's the way that I also approached the computational aided engineering area and in general the graduate program. Not really saying no to finance, because I don't have a finance background, but just like try to experiment it and see if maybe some parts are actually what you want. And for me, what I discovered during the program was more about the project lead and the project management part. And I understood I will never want to be a technical expert. That's not who I am and what I would like to do. Full respect for who does, because it's an extremely challenging area to become an expert on something. But I wanted more to lead projects, to manage different programs. And therefore, when I stopped these 2 years, so when I was approaching the end of the 2 years of the graduate program, I was looking for these type of opportunities. And one continuation that could be on the technical side is to be a Scrum Master. Agile, right? And I was like, okay, that could be an option for sure. When I spoke about the network, there's a reason, because I created my network in Volvo, but also in my team and management. So I was constantly reporting to my manager, my manager's manager, my accomplishment and what I was using these 6 months and what I learned and what delivery I'd given. So I think I built trust and also they acknowledged that I'm someone who wants to do things and wants to deliver things. So when I wanted to look for some more leadership-oriented position, I did not have a role in mind or anything. I just knew like I want to dig more into that perspective. And my manager's manager at the time, he just approached me and asked me, "Hey, do you want to be part of building a new company?" And I was like, "Hey, tell me more." And it was super scary. I mean, when you're the global graduate program, you're kind of born and raised in this bubble of being the global graduates of Volvo, and like you have some sort of privileged network of information and network of opportunities. And to leave that, it was not an easy decision, because you kind of built those 2 years based on that. And now I'm leaving the company. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that.
Leading Volvo Cars.
Yes.
A big company.
Yeah. Where I was fed with all this 2-year
whole revolution, all the people that know you around you, all you're leading Volvo Cars.
Exactly.
That kind of feeling.
Okay. And also like, really because I had a wide network, am I ready to lead that? Am I ready because it's a lot of opportunities, right? But then I thought, at the time I was 26-year-old, and I said, but if I don't try now to get in this journey and help building a new company, when will I do it? I mean, this is kind of those opportunities that happen every once in a while, not that often in your life. And then I spoke with some friend of mine and also like family friends who already work and are 40 over at their own company. And they told me, but Giulia, knowing you, if you were not to take this and go maybe to do a Scrum Master job in keeping in Volvo Car, would you regret it every single day? It's like, yeah, I would. I actually would. And that was like the question that made me just say, okay, I actually need to be a bit earlier and just take the jump, because leading a company, it's always where you put it in perspective. Like I was a graduate, I've been just working in Volvo for 2 years. I was there, right? So then in that perspective, you're scared. But looking from outside, I mean, it's just changing a company. It's nothing that anyone hasn't done yet already, right? So, but I needed that type of maturity in my thoughts as well. And that's how then I joined Aurobay.
Okay. So this is very interesting because a lot of people all over the world, they are in different continents, they are in this field, they are holding on to one stick and thinking, okay, I shouldn't make a move. No, okay, what will happen next? What I have done it a couple of times in my own career also, and here you are. I mean, what I mean to say is, you hold on, say chemical engineer,
yeah,
and then okay, I'm done chemical engineering. I spent so much time. I should do something all in chemical. What about your inner self? Is it speaking the same voice? And you realize, because you also mature as you do any course. As a matter of fact, as you're saying, you chemical engineering, then you came to masters, and then you're global graduate, technical to management. So every junction, and this is really, really important for a lot of people, a lot of girls who think, that's how it is. No, but this is really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's one of the most important things is really do not be afraid to change. I know it's tough because I've been there, and every day we're there. I mean, you never stay static, right? After some time, you mature, you have different needs, a different vision of your life even, and then you want to do something different. And sometimes you feel like, but I've been working a lot on this. Now, if I change, it's like wasted time. But you are there where you are because you invested the time in the previous thing. So there's nothing wrong in changing. It's just part of maturing yourself and your work then in the process. It's very important.
Yeah. Now I want to focus on this new company.
Yeah.
You're in the management now, and somewhere I read on your profile that you were working on making a company.
Yeah.
And you were doing something.
Yeah.
Please tell.
Okay. So I've really been from day one to make this company. The background that we had was just a bunch of people moved from Volvo Cars to another company.
And this is a 26-year-old entering day one.
Yes, it is. Okay. So I just been given a pack of, this is the due diligence I've done. Start reading these legal papers. And I'm like, I don't understand the plate, but I'll try my best. So with the Google Translator, all the terms, I'm like, okay, I know where we are now. Fine. So my first step was actually just getting to understand where we were. But we were in the very, very early phase. We just finished the due diligence with the Volvo and Giulia. And then what I did as a first step was to lead for R&D, for research and development, the carve out and the creation of a new legal entity. Because we have these people, right? And then there is this intention of creating a new company. And you do a due diligence to understand how this company would look like legally and with the shares and who owns what and so on. But then you need to create it. You need to actually have a trademark. And our company, Aurobay, it's a bigger company. But before, there was no Aurobay. There was another Swedish company called Powertrain Engineering Sweden. That's what we create. That's our legal entity in the Gothenburg offices and showed the plant. So we first had to do this, which we call the step 1A. And it was to just like take this and create a legal entity.
I'd like to, I want to focus, when you say Aurobay,
Yeah.
is it a Swedish company, only Sweden-based, or it is more locations all?
It's more locations.
Okay.
So the Aurobay, it's a company name, which is an umbrella basically of different parts. We have a Powertrain Engineering Sweden. That's our offices in Gothenburg and our engine factory plant in Skövde.
Yeah.
And then you have also Sanjaku, which is another engine plant in China.
Okay.
So all this, and Sanjaku is another legal entity. Legally, we are different names, but our name as a company, as a corporate company, it's Aurobay.
So now I want to focus on one very important thing here. 26-year-old, just a new manager, new company, and all the people are older than you.
Yes.
And then you have several locations for this new company. Different legal entities. Means you need to understand the one that you're based at, then you need to understand the one China. Is there any other location?
No, not as of now.
As of now. So now you need to handle all of the areas. Manufacturing, R&D, sales.
Well, I was leading for R&D, but obviously I had the counterparts for different areas. It's a very big project. So
Okay.
my main aim was to lead the research and development team, which is around 400 people, to this journey and to create the legal entity. But obviously that means that you need to check with all the other functions and leads that things are going in the same direction.
And then again, go back, not on the more, all these things, you have done it already, but the person who is going through it.
Yeah.
Now, if general understanding is, I need a 20-year experienced guy to handle this project.
Yeah.
He should know the legal, he should know all the nuances of creating a company and stuff like that. And here you are, just 26, just out of college, and then through Volvo thing, and then they hand over you with a new company. And then you have to figure out all these 20 years or 30 years experience guys stuff.
In few months, yes.
And then you need to do the people management.
But the people management came later.
Okay.
So just at the beginning, it started as
It's only project. See, yeah.
as a project lead to create the legal entity. And obviously it was a challenge. As I mentioned, right? Do not be scared to change. It's also do not be scared to take a challenge. My main thing that I think about when I have these opportunities If someone with experience is betting on me and thinks that I can do it, why should I say no? If they think I can do it, they have more knowledge for sure to know that I can do it than I do. So I should trust people who trust in me. And if they think I can do it, maybe I can actually do it.
I can see that it needs extreme focus, extreme dedication.
Yes.
And for the people, you're just climbing one step at a time. But in your mind, you're scaling up mountains already. And then coming up and telling people, okay, we need to do this, or maybe we have to work it out. Yeah. And obviously, it's not an individual job. No, but to collaborate with the team, yeah. How was that? I mean, I want to focus again on this. People older than you, and then they're also probably the same energy because its needs are really same level energy people. Mm-hmm. And then age differences were there, but they had their own experiences to contribute. So how was that environment for you?
For me, I mean, I've been very lucky to have always had a very open-minded colleagues. I never felt, for example, like judged or biased because of the age or the experience. On the other end, it's also me who I've not just jump in and say, hey, I know it all, just follow what I say. But I am more like took really the time to ask questions. I sat, I think, with every function in the company, just telling them, can you tell me how you work? And asking all the stupid questions. What is that? What is those abbreviations, terms? There's a lot of also lingo between each company, and to understand that and to build a network. Okay, if I want to know about this, I need to ask this guy and that guy. So I rebuilt the network from scratch. I did it the 2 years in Volvo, and then I did it in Aurobay, and I continue to do it every day. But really to first listen and understand. And then when I was ready with that, I actually started taking more and more lead. Because what people need in this transformation is not someone who knows it all. It needs someone who can guide them across all the multitude of things that are happening. So that was the approach that I've had. And I think it was also the most respectful way to approach this from an age and experience perspective, but also in general as a lead perspective. If you are a leader with 20 years experience, you still need to listen to people, how they work and how they think, or you will lead by yourself, and that will not really work, will it? So that's the approach that I've used, both in this first step in which I created the legal entity, but also later in my further assignments in the company.
So I just realized one important thing on all this thing, especially the age group who are from 21 to 26, 28 or 30 also. When they are looking at this podcast now, I mean, going to this part of the podcast, they will realize, I think I can do it also.
Absolutely.
For the thing that I've been always procrastinating, no, I shouldn't. Maybe I cannot do it. Even boys and girls, it's not just girls, it's boys and girls.
Yeah.
Everybody. So this is really inspiration story.
Thank you.
Now I want to focus on one thing very specific, because I know that because I'm also part of Aurobay.
Yes.
And I have recognized one skill. It was in 2014, but then it just lost. But again, it came back. Yeah, that thing. And you're the expert in that area, or your team probably. I'll explain it in this way. Every person out there, not technical, non-technical, any professional, they need to know Microsoft Office. There's another skill which is coming up live. It needs to be learned now to be more digitally very well and efficient, and that is SharePoint.
Yes.
And you're the expert, I know that.
Oh, well.
Or your team.
I try. I try to work with it, yes.
So how people are, or in your case, how are you using SharePoint? To what extent you're using it?
So we have a SharePoint, the company SharePoint, from which you can go in different areas. So I work mainly in the R&D SharePoint. And in my current role, I'm also process manager for R&D, meaning I'm building and changing processes on how we work. And therefore, I post a lot of things in the SharePoint regarding that. So the way that I use SharePoint is two ways. One, it's more regarding storing documents in a way that people can find them. That's the main purpose. It's not just to store them, but it's like, how can people through easy way, like 2-3 clicks, I get where I want always. And the other part in which I use SharePoint is more on the news communication. So I use a lot these news pages to publish different messages, and I cluster them in different topics. So also in that perspective, with a couple of clicks, if I want to know about Team Center updates, I should be able to go there and see all of that. If I want to hear about a people update, then I go there, and so on and so forth. So I try to structure it in this way.
So now it's easy to do this thing, SharePoint.
I don't think it's difficult. I think it's you need to learn it the first time, but after that, it's more of a matter to making sure that it has a structure. You don't have loose ends everywhere. And of course, I'm not the only one working on our SharePoint. I have like expert colleagues and other people who help with that. I don't take full credit for it whatsoever, but I try to help in like keeping it organized as well. Yes.
I've worked only a little bit of that. We did a little bit of automation, so that we could renew some of the meetings, and then all the stakeholders can come to our side, and then all the notes and stuff like that. That's really amazing for collaboration perspective. Yeah. Which I think for a few years ago it was just folders. All the files will be just loaded and loaded, and you have to find, and you really don't know. Then it is the latest one.
Yes.
Because it's very easy to say revision 2 or 14, but then
out of what? I agree totally. No, it's a big improvement. Also, just looking back a few years ago, honestly, it's a very good platform to use.
Now I'm gonna focus on the diversity that you have in your team or group.
Yeah.
Because we are working for a product that serves not just one market, several markets in the world. That means there are people who are working from different parts of the world. Yeah. And I call it as borderless teams.
Okay.
Or global citizens who are making for the world.
Yeah.
When there is it's very easy to break the world, but then makers, here we are.
Yes.
So how is the environment? How is it going on that?
So, my team perspective or company perspective?
Your perspective.
Well, from my perspective, I think, especially in my team, I've really tried to build a diverse team. Not only about, the usual like gender and the nationality and so on perspective, but also in terms of personalities. I mean, diversity is so many aspects of it, right? And it's very difficult to balance it off. But I really, truly believe that's the key to success. And I see more and more international people also joining the company, which makes me very happy, because it's not a matter of where you come from. It's a matter of building the cultures together and make our own company culture. And I've observed that the more that my team was diverse, the more results we could achieve, because you just feed ideas out of each other, and you build also a more relaxed environment in which you feel safe to share things and your experiences, and therefore also that is reflecting on your work and deliverables. And when you work in a team that you like, you like what you do, and you have a good relationship with your colleagues, that inspires also you to do better for the company, right? And that's how you are also a maker. It's not just about your role, it's about you feel like you're fulfilling the company purpose. And to feel like that, you need to have that diversity in that type of team.
Now, was there a situation which was really challenging for you?
Always.
One challenge. And then, I mean, you've already been very, trying to solve the things by yourself, trying to gain that, climbing up that mountain fast in your mind so that you're ready. There would be one challenge when you felt, this broke me, but then you got back. But how you got back? One challenge that you can think of.
I mean, I have been through, obviously, as any other employee and any other leader, a lot of challenges. I mean, sometimes I think that when you're a maker and when you work very hard, it's difficult to wait. I'm very patient most of the times. I've been better over the years, but that when you have the energy, the will, the drive, and you spend hours and hours in your hard work, you're focused, you are just ambitious, then you want to see things to reflect directly, right? And that's not the case. I mean, anything that you do is bigger than what you see. when you speak about separating R&D, you're speaking about separating a company. And then you need to consider people from another side of the world, the manufacturing, the legal perspectives. Legal is, for example, one thing that I've never considered in my life before starting these positions. So therefore, one of the biggest challenges is to have the patience to see and to understand the big picture before expecting something. Instead of just looking at your bubble and say, okay, I've done this, so now I should get that. But I've done this, but what else should be done before I get there? So to see that bigger picture, it has been a challenge. And it's also a challenge because you need to build that network and that knowledge, and it doesn't come from day one, and no one will give it to you except if you look for it. So for sure, the challenge has been one of the biggest challenges been that. And it's also a matter of experience and time and knowledge and overview of the company before you really understand how things move.
I feel that you will not grow plants.
No, I'm so bad.
You will not let the seed grow up. You come on.
It's like, come on, I give you water. No, you should be fully.
Like you're one later, you should be one later.
Inside. No, they say the gardening is not my biggest passion.
No, I felt that you have not either biology.
No.
That was good. So now you're away from your country now for quite a time.
Yeah.
You're enjoying the work.
Yes.
You miss home.
I mean, I wouldn't lie if I say I don't miss my home at all. There are moments in which I miss my home and my family, obviously. But of course, I mean, I've been here 7 years and I've not just worked. Actually, it's a very important message to give. Although I'm very dedicated and I work very hard, I have a life. And I think it's so important because if you just focus on work and you forget that aspect, as an ambitious leader, you can go on for a few years and then you're going to hit the wall. You need to have something else. You cannot just do everything for work. Your life cannot be just work. And that's extremely important. So I've built my life with my partner and I have a lot of friends and I have hobbies. So I mean, in that perspective, my life and my routine is here in Sweden. And in that perspective, I don't miss home. But like, if you think about my family and maybe some events and, even just birthdays, I'm not there most of the times. And these type of things, then you feel like, I'd like to be there for a few days.
And also cuisine.
Yeah, for sure. But we can cook Italian food here as well. So, but of course, nothing replaces mama food. And
you're saying that this is home. So when you go from this home to your actual home, or country home, you miss this home also.
Yeah, after a while I do. I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's 7 years and 7 years change a person a lot.
Exactly.
And I think I became a bit more Swedish than I was before, which was zero because I was full growth.
So technically it is like the Swedish girl.
I mean, I'm less loud. You may not believe it, but we're louder in Italy.
Okay.
And I use my hands a bit less. And many other things. And I mean, it's just, it's a different lifestyle. And
so this is more colder part of the world. And that is not so cold.
No.
I mean, for the time of the year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the weather is one of the biggest things that I miss.
But then it make changes to your hobby, what you pursue here now?
Yeah,
of course. What hobbies you're pursuing here now?
I mean, here it varies a lot from gym and tennis and different sports to just taking some trips and travel to dance classes. Like really, I try every year to change a bit and just see like where I want to be. But definitely, like when I was in Italy, it was more outdoor. It was possible to do that. Now it's a bit more indoor, given the weather. But again, it's always, sometimes I get some colleagues or friends saying, but I've been in Italy now 1 year. I was like, yeah, the weather is great and the food is great, but it depends if that is your priority one, right?
Yes.
And for me, it's super important, but not my priority. And I really like where I am now. And that I don't know what was going to happen years from now. I learned never to make that long-term plan. But for now, my life is here. I'm really happy about it.
Okay, then we can stop here.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel episode part 2 is pending. There's some more topic that I have in my mind, but I can't take it further.
Okay.
We'll call it a day. today.
Okay.
So thank you very much for this first episode on Stories of PRODSouls. PRODSouls is product souls, and it is irrespective of not just R&D, but everybody who contributes to the book.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Hi friends, that was all for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and had some interesting takeaways from it. Please let us know what topics you want us to take up with Giulia, and how did you feel about this podcast? Do you want a specific guest on this podcast? Please let us know your views and feedbacks on LinkedIn or YouTube comments. See you in the next podcast, which is an inspiring story of a lady from modeling to becoming a chief digital officer. Stay tuned.